thank you. What time we got? We got 8:36. How many older Gen Xers do we have here tonight? That's what I thought. Look at how late you're up. Look at this. 8:37 now. You're still up. That's fantastic. When I say late Gen Xers, I'm talking about those of us who were born in the 60s, closer to 1960 than closer to 1980, which is a sweet spot. It's a sweet spot to be, right? When the millennials and the Gen Zers come for us, we could just point to the boomers, right? They're over there, right? They're the ones who fucked it up, right? They're over there, right? You just missed them. They're at a Jimmy Buffett memorial. Go, go, go! Go get them! Yeah, no, I'm 55 years old. Yeah. Nah, clap for that. That's weird. Double nickels, right? That's the kind of shit you say when you're 55. You say double nickels. No, it's fun. It's fun. I like it. I've been getting the AARP junk mail for a long time now, right? But at 55, you start opening it. Because they got incentives. They're pretty sweet. A couple of months ago, it was a trunk organizer. Trunk organizer. No, I said it out loud. In the kitchen. I opened up the envelope. I go, fuck yeah, trunk organizer. That's 55. My wife came in the kitchen at that moment, and it was like that meme when the toddler comes into the room and then makes the quick exit out, right? She was like, oh, old man right there. Get out of here. Right? Yeah, no, trunk organizer. It's a stupid thing. It's just a box for your trunk. It makes your trunk smaller. It's terrible. It's a stupid thing. I got a little compartment for my jumper cables now. Like I'm gonna get out of the car. I'm not doing that, right? Get AAA, you animal. I'm not involved in this. I now get 10% off every first Tuesday at Fred Meyer. Thank you very much. It does not include prescription drugs or alcohol, so not much of a windfall there, not much of a financial windfall there, but it's the honor. It's the honor that counts. No, I take my senior shopping day very seriously. I really do. I took out a mentor. His name is Stewie, right? 72-year-old man. He's showing me the ropes, right? First lesson was talking to employees who don't really want to talk to you. First lesson, right? I thought I would excel at this. I just went right into it. Saw a young man, he was stacking potato chips. I went over to him, didn't make eye contact, just started talking. Right? And I was like, back in the day, there always used to be 3 flavors of potato chips. We had plain, we had barbecue, and somewhere around 1977, they came out with sour cream and onion. That was quite a controversy at the time, let me tell you, young man. And that went on for about 15 minutes. I knew I was doing good because he was putting those chips up really fast. I went back to Stewie, I'm like, huh? Pretty freaking great, right? He's like, wasn't random enough. Right? You were talking about potato chips to somebody who was stacking potato chips. There could have been some interest. Try that in the produce aisle next time, right? Damn it. I'll work on it. Stewie's hard on me, though. I was late at our first meeting. I got there when the supermarket opened. Supposedly, you're supposed to get there a half hour before it opens, so you can do this in the window, right? Kind of knock on the, try to get attention. I'll work on it. Supposedly soon I'm going to be writing checks for groceries, and I'm very excited about that lesson. I'm very excited. Stewie's a good man. No, Stewie's a good man. He really is. But 55 is not really that different, except for pickleball. Holy shit, pickleball! No, that's all I do. Can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, no, I didn't want to play at first, but they come to your house. They do. They know that you've just turned that dial on the age, and they're there, right? Janet was at the door immediately. Come on, I need somebody for doubles, you know? I'm like, Janet, am I legally obligated to play pickleball? And she's like, in a very cold voice, she said, not exactly, but I can't guarantee the safety of your family if you refuse. What? Pickleball is gangster. Look at this. Now I have like this nightmare that Janet's running after me with that little paddle going, come here, fat boy, I'm going to make that ass red, right? That's actually not a nightmare. It's not a nightmare. You know, in that scenario, my wife's on the couch like, fuck him up. Like, you know, that's some sound sleeping for this man right there, right? I'm smiling when that REM sleep is happening right there. Yeah. 55 means there's nothing for me to drink at Plaid Pantry. No, there isn't. You know, any convenience store, there's nothing there for me. What the hell is a hazy, juicy IPA? Look at me. I was in the original IPA focus group, and they did not tell me they were going in this direction. They really didn't. I don't know. That sounds like something you don't want to hear from your optometrist. Something like cataracts, but way grosser, right? You know, something you can't get on the bus with. Everything in there seems to have the color of 80s tracksuits, right? I don't want to drink anything that's blue. I don't want to drink anything that's blue, so that really kind of limits it in so many ways. They got that whole cooler full of those like hard seltzers. I don't want that. No, I don't. Like, I don't know. To me, White Claw sounds like the weakest racist prison gang ever. Right? Here comes the White Claw, right? They got their no law but the claw neck tat going on. No respect for the Claw Dogs. Instant shank fest when they show up on the cell block. I don't know, if you're gonna have a white prison gang, go with something truly terrifying, like Homeowners Association. Right? That's a good tattoo, right? You got HOA on your forehead. The A is dripping blood, right? You know, you got a hash mark on your cheek for every boat you own. That's the way to go. You walk tall in the cell block with that, no doubt. I am one of the older comics, obviously, in the Portland scene. And I gotta tell you, I've heard a lot of jokes about the kind of porn people watch. I mean, categories, all kinds of different things, you know. I'm here to talk to you about YouTube car repair videos. That's what this guy's into right here. Give me 8 minutes cleaning the fuel injectors on a 98 Honda. That's my speed right there. That's what Donnie wants to see. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. One time I did a whole 22 minutes, full starter installation on a 2003 Ford Taurus. Fucking hot. With those old Tauruses, you know, you gotta take the oil filter off first, the starter's underneath it. Oil gets everywhere. It's not for everybody. It really isn't, right? Talking extreme stuff here, right? You know, my wife saw my search history. I think she much rather would have seen porn. I really do. I mean, We don't even own a Taurus. It's getting weird. It's really getting weird. I told this joke in rural Washington State, and I got the best heckle I ever got in my life. Guy about my age, just yells. He's like, "You don't have to take the starter out that way. There's no reason to take the oil filter off. That's stupid. Just jack up the car a little bit. Go from underneath, right? What's wrong with you?" I looked him right in the face and I said, "Sir, when it comes to car repair, some of us are tops, some of us are bottoms. Right? Oh, look at this. Very bottom-friendly crowd here. Good for you." Best thing about it is he didn't get it. He had no idea. No idea. Zero. He even came up to me after the show. He's like, "I'm sorry. You should never tell a man how to fix his own car," right? And I'm like, "Sir, the world doesn't go around without bottoms." He's like, "I guess you're right." That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. I'm a dad of 2 adult children. I knew this crowd was old. I'm a dad of 2 adult children. I do this at night, and I've been teaching high school history for 31 years. Oh, wow. Thank you very much. I've reached the singularity in my life. Really have. I now spend every waking hour talking to people who are high. That's all I do. That's all I do. I don't need a Google Calendar. Same shit every day, right? Kitchen table, bar somewhere, classroom. Same thing. How many people are a little high right now? A little high? A little high? Nice one. All right. I'm disappointed in Show Bar. I really am. Right, it's Saturday night. I've had first period economics classes a lot higher than this. Let's step it up a bit. Let's step it up a bit. What's wrong with you? Right? It's a weird time. It's a weird time in the family. My son just moved out. Yeah, I don't got an awe here in front of me. What the hell? Got a fucking cowboy here. Remember, we're taping. We don't need yodels, right? He just moved out, and I got to admit, I wasn't emotionally prepared for this. I really wasn't. I mean, there's an emptiness inside of me. There's an emptiness inside of me since he left. You got to understand. He took the bong. He did. No. He took the bong. He took the dab rig. He took the vaporizer. He took the fucking emergency bong in the garage. I mean, that seemed cruel and spiteful. I half expected to go out there, see a fresh eighth, everything clean, a little note, "Love you so much, Pop. Here's one last setup." Nothing. He texts me like, we're going to that game next week, right? The car's making a funny noise. I think it's the starter. Can you give me a hand, right? I'm fucking ghosting him at this point. He's dead to me. I know. I raised a stoner, not a monster, right? Leave your papa some glass. What's wrong with you? Jesus. Now that he's out of the house, I've branched out. I really have. I give random dad advice to 20-somethings I see in the neighborhood. No, this works for me. It works for the neighborhood. It really does. I saw a young man the other day. I just went up to him and said, "Hey, there's no such thing as craft vodka, right?" And he's like, "Thanks, neighborhood dad." I'm like, "That's right. Neighborhood dad, I'm here to help. Grey Goose, Kettle One. Don't pay for marketing, kid. Just buy what's on sale. It's vodka. Right? Avoid shit in plastic bottles, no doubt, right? But just buy what's on sale. You can go now. Right? I do it. I'm not ashamed to do it. You know who we are. I'm that guy that gets behind you to help you parallel park, right? It's like, come on. Cut the wheel. You got it right here. Let's do it, right? Kids love that. Ladies especially love that, right? They really do, right? They fucking hate that. They lock the doors. They assume the position with the key, right? You know, it's like, hey, I'm neighborhood dad. I'm here to help. It's too late. They're terrified. No, but for real. I did save a life the other day. I really did. Saw a young man. It was Friday night. He was dressed real sharp. Went up to him. I put my arm around him. I said, you know, when someone says their herpes is asymptomatic, it's still herpes. He's like, I don't want to have this talk. I'm like, we're having it. Held on for about a block and a half. We had a good talk. He got on the bus. I don't think he was originally planning on getting on the bus, but he got on the bus. Gave him a salute when he went by. And neighborhood dad's here to help. My daughter is still at the house. She doesn't need my advice. She doesn't. And she doesn't need my advice because my daughter works at Starbucks. She's been there for 2 years. She is the longest tenured employee in the Starbucks corporation ladder. She works the drive-thru. There is no advice that I can give someone who commands something like that. She stares into the abyss every day, one car at a time, right? And holds it together. Whatever that was. I agree. And, you know, I worry about her. Yeah, it's true. You know, I know it's old-fashioned. I know it's fucked up, but I worry about her differently than I do my son. I try to tell her this. I'm like, you know, you're out there late at night. There's all kinds of creeps out there. You never know what's going to come through the drive-through window. And she's just like, Dad, stop. Don't worry. I got a pretty savage resting bitch face. I'm like, sweetie, don't say resting bitch face. Come on, you're walking right into the patriarchal narrative there. Let's not be doing that. Right? As I mansplain the patriarchy to her. But then I saw it. Right there in front of me. She just gave it to me. I've gotten dirty looks from my daughter before, but this was a whole nother level. Right? I was consumed with a level of self-loathing that I did not think was possible. Whatever my drink was, this is fine. Right? That's all there was to it. The room elongated like a horror movie. The dog ran under the couch sensing something terrible was going to happen. All the doors slammed. I passed out. When I came to, she was kind of lording over me. And a voice that wasn't quite her own, she said, "No, sir, that was 3 pumps of hazelnut." I was not in a position to argue at that point. I really wasn't. You know, I was not in a position of authority. And in the ruckus, I had peed myself a little bit. I was wearing khakis. It was totally obvious. It really was. Yeah, no, she's gonna be fine. She's gonna be fine. She has proven that well. She has proven that well. I lied to you already, and I apologize. I really do. I have not been teaching high school for 31 years. I did take a few years off in the 90s to pursue other things. That was mostly cocaine. I'm lying again. No, from 93 to 95, I followed the Grateful Dead, right? But I would rather tell people it was 2 coked out years than that. I was a drum circle guy, right? For a couple of months, I called myself the Vortex, right? It's like, I don't want to remember that. When people ask me what the gap on the resume was, I'm like, cocaine. There was lots of cocaine. I'm good now, though, right? That just seems better than saying I lived off of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and nitrous oxide for 2 years. I'm ashamed. No, but I did start teaching in 1991. If you want some context for that, in September of 1991, I Want to Sex You Up by Color Me Bad was the #1 hit, right? Sad that you remember that song. Go ahead. Go on YouTube and watch the video and feel the shame. Sure, millennials and Gen Z have to worry about, most of their adult life being in the Planet with Flames, but we had to deal with early 90s pop music, which is a lot more terrifying. I started teaching on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I'll never forget the first textbook I had. It was called The World and Its Peoples. On the first page of this book, it had the world broken up into 3 peoples. You guessed it. Mongoloid, Negroid, and Caucasoid. Yeah. I used this textbook for years. Not because of that. But because on every single page, somebody must have been in the book room for days. Somebody wrote something else. In perfect Helvetica, by the way. Which is the proper font. Any Times New Roman people here tonight? What the fuck? That's terrible. It's like half the room is Times New Roman. That's a dog shit font. Does Times New... That's right, here's the Helvetica people. Does Times New Roman have their own award-winning documentary? It does not. Right? You might as well say American typewriter, right? Bullshit fonts. Anyway, in perfect Helvetica, someone wrote something else on that page. They wrote, Maddie loves Dickazoid. In every single textbook. As a history teacher, this is an excellent way to start a class, right? Who is Maddie, right? We need to know where our primary sources are coming from. Who is Maddie? Is this Mateo? Is this Matilda? Was Maddie the Dickazoid enthusiast, right? We don't know. We will investigate. That is the job of historians. One time a kid raised his hand. He's like, Mr. G, Mr. G. Kids, call me Mr. G because I'm dope. That was not a joke. There was no reason to laugh at that. He raises his hand. He's like, hey, Mr. G, is Dickazoid the scientific name for penis? And I'm like, absolutely, fantastic, nice work. And now we're going interdisciplinary here, right? We got anatomy, we got biology going on in here. This is a good lesson plan, right? I told him, listen, we're not going to use slang terms here in this class. We're not going to use words like schlong or, Mr. Boffo's surprise, right? That was big in the 90s. But we're going to use the proper terms. If we have to penis, But preferably, at least dick for short. But, the best way to go is the scientific term, which is dickazoid. Right? Those kids are in their 40s now. Yeah. Lots of sexual dysfunction in those lives. Right? You can't have sexy time if the word dickazoid is involved. No matter how you spin that, right? That is impossible to get anyone in the mood. No one wants a dickazoid involved in anything. Right? Yeah. No, I think I got it down though. With my decades in teaching, I think I got the way we should do the jargon. Education is filled with jargon, but I think I got what we need to do. Right? We need to use collective terms like we have in zoology. Right? No, this works. Like a group of kangaroos is a mob, right? A school of fish, right? The collective terms. We should do this in education. Like a group of middle school boys isn't awkward. Right? It's not their fault, right? But you gotta say it how it is, right? A group of soon-to-retire elementary school teachers. That's a Sauvignon Blanc. No, it is. It is, right? How many elementary school teachers are we having here right now? Right? You got a couple? Whenever I do a show, I always warn the bar. I'm like, chances are there's going to be some elementary school teachers here. How much white wine do you have? And we got a whole case. I'm like, do you understand what's about to happen to you? Call your purveyor now. You won't get out of here alive with a case, right? A group of vice principals. Yeah. That's an endless staff meeting. That's all that is. It's an endless staff meeting. Nobody wants to go there. We've experimented. I do another show called The Teacher Show, and thank you. We've experimented with having drink specials. It's never really worked out. One time we just tried a drink called Formal Observation, which was 4 ounces of room temperature cheap tequila and a slap in the face. That was a little too real. Yeah. We tried new vice principal one time, right? Because we thought that would be funny. People could be on the bar line before the show and see, I'll have a new vice principal. That would be great. But then, people would start thinking, I don't want to deal with that shit now. I just want to relax. I don't want to deal with a new vice principal. It was kind of just a Manhattan anyway, but still. But I think the most terrifying collective term is a group of senior girls. Yeah, some of you were senior girls. You know what you did. A group of senior girls is a judgment. It is. And this is not from me being a teacher. This is going back to Kings Park High School in the mid-'80s with Charlene Bagaglio and Denise Bugarelli telling me my members-only jacket was a fake. I knew. See, I knew I could get away with that joke, right? If I tell that joke in a 20-something crowd, I'm like, members only, what does this mean? Where is he going? I'm confused. Who is Color Me Bad? What is this? No, just because it was spelt with a Z didn't mean it was fake. But I'll never forget that. I'm still talking about it, right? The 40th reunion's coming up, and I will get my revenge. I've been teaching so long that there's nothing really the kids can say or do that gets under my skin. But before I get into this, I got to admit another thing, right? Yes, there was those years in the 90s, where I was in drum circles for most of the time. But I also have to admit that I wore a fedora for about a decade. Oh, I've lost respect for the crowd. No, I got trapped. You know, I went to a show and it was a jazz quartet, and the piano player was wearing a lime green three-piece suit with a matching hat and shoes. And, you know, I couldn't wear something like that and not be accused of cultural appropriation. So I just kept that to the side. But when he left between sets and walked by our table, I was wearing the hat. And he looked at me and going, "Nice hat, kid." And I'm like 42 years old, and he calls me kid. And I didn't take it off for a decade. You know, I wore this, and a kid comes running up to me one day. He's shaking his phone. He's like, Mr. G, you gotta say this. And I look at his phone. On his phone was a fashion don't list. Top of the list, fedoras. Said unless you're a septuagenarian Portuguese fisherman, or a Latino homicide detective working cases in South Florida, it's a no-go look. Full stop. Cease and desist. Kid wasn't trying to be a dick. He's just like, what are we going to do about this? I wasn't going to take advice from this kid. He was a band kid. No, not a cool one, right? Not one that knows a couple of Coltrane riffs, swings that saxophone, wears that vintage blazer to school, got that lapel pin that says Woodwinds Rule. No, not that kid. Got a lapel pin person in the back of the room. Yeah. No, this kid's got some godforsaken horn in a case so big it has wheels. I don't know what it is, right? He's obviously going to be calling it his celibacy horn in a few years. Virginophone or not, this kid does not have the right to give advice to a chapeau that a jazz pianist said was right on, right? So, you know, this thing was out of Whoville. I don't know what it was, but, you know, fuck bassoon boy. I'm not taking his advice. Step aside, man. Yeah. No, school I work at has been completely remodeled. Yeah. Mm-hmm. From the ground up, brand new. Everything's new. We have windows with glass. Yeah, not plywood, glass. Right? We have air conditioning, we have new furniture, we have all kinds of things. It's super snazzy. But I walked into my classroom and there was something missing. I couldn't put my finger on it at first, but then I realized not one single penis cartoon in the whole room. They're all gone, right? Not one dick carved into a desk, into a chair, scrawled on the wall. Not that one shooting straight up in the air that says USA on the shaft, right? Not that one on a 45-degree angle that's spurting that says, oh yeah, right? You remember the oh yeah one, right? Yeah. Yeah, they're all gone. What screwed me up is, for years, this had been my seating chart. No, it was. You know, new kid comes into class. He's like, hey, Mrs. G, you know, where do I sit? I'm like, hey, Aiden, how you doing? He's like, how'd you know my name was Aiden? I'm like, if you were born between 2003 and 2008, your name's Aiden. Take Rocket Dick, third row. Can't do that anymore, right? I gotta write down their names now. Right? It's cramping my style. My school, in the remodel, community decided that we would have 100% gender-neutral restrooms. Right? Fantastic, right? Not the reaction I got when I started this joke in Boise. No, they were like, where are we? What's going on? If you haven't seen this on a large scale, the toilets are in little rooms, and there's trough sinks out that side that everybody shares, and the little toilet rooms have floor-to-ceiling doors that lock from the inside. Yeah, we did not think this through completely. We did not. Remember, there's a wheelchair-accessible bathroom on every floor, which is now the party room, right? We've created 72 sexy time vape rooms at Grant High School. We have. No more running out to Aiden Subaru for a quick handy and some e-juice, right? They can do that right in the building. They're on time. They seem satisfied. That's working out, right? What I like about it though is you have freshman boys and senior girls in the same space. This is a very rare sociological situation. Did somebody just say nice? And that was a gross nice, too. Did you hear that? They were just like, nice. Ew. Anyway, let's start that again without the nice. Freshman boys, senior girls in the same space. Rare sociological experiment right here. If you haven't seen a freshman boy lately, they're about 3'11". No, they're a tiny batch. They really are. They got that backpack to body ratio that's it's not working out for them. It really isn't. They're always falling over. They're like little turtles. You can get them spinning. I got 4 spinning at once. That was a new record. I sent that into America's Got Talent. I just got a curt email back going, child abuse is not a submission category. If you think this little juicy tidbit of information is something you could bring back to a right-leaning relative about our fair city of Portland, it's too late. Fox News has already done several stories on our school. Yeah. I think they have a weekly show now called Why Portland Makes Jesus Sad. And top story there. Top story. No, but I like watching it. The other than the nice guy, not in a creepy way, but I like to see what's going on there. One time I saw a freshman boy, he's staring at the tampon dispenser, right? He's heard of these things, but he's never really, experienced one. Senior girl rushes by. She's like, out of my way, fuck boy. I'm about to drop a clot here. Get out of my way. Right? No. That's how they talk now. They sound like 70s New York cab drivers. There's nothing I can do about it, right? It's like, out of my way, Mac. I'm about to paint the bowl, right? That's how they talk. I do want to give credit there with that joke. During COVID, I was on a teacher comic mic that was all over the country, right? And I did that drop a clot line, and people were just like, fuck yeah. They were very happy about that. And then I'm like, what else can I use? What else can I use for that, right? And somebody who didn't have their camera on, they just had a name that said, this bitch teaches. right? They were in Boston. And all I heard from that box was, paint the bowl, right? And I'm like, can I use that? And they're like, fuck yeah. And that's where that came from. So this bitch teaches. Thank you very much for that. I really appreciate it. That was great. But, you know, I miss COVID. I do. I don't know how many of you experienced this on either the teacher's side, the parent's side, or whatever, but there was one semester there where we had parent-teacher conferences on Zoom. One semester we could do it from our own home, and that was sweet, right? Because the first thing I thought of was like, I can smoke during teacher conferences. What? They can't stop me. This is my home, right? I teach high school, right? I got 17 and 18-year-olds, right? If smoking is rated R, they're old enough for it. And why the hell are they at the parent-teacher conference anyway, right? What kind of helicopter mom are you? Leave your kid alone. They're about to fly from the nest. You shouldn't even be here, right? This is not 5th grade. But yeah, there's no better way to control a parent-teacher conference than taking a large drag off your cigarette. And then you look at the screen and you disappear behind a cloud of smoke for about 20 seconds. When you come back, you're in charge of that conference. Even if the parent is pissed about freshmen spinning, you are fine, right? The background too. You know how it was with the Zoom stuff. You choose your background, right? You know, that was great. I had a lot of great ones, right? Sometimes it was my hungover young adult children walking around. Sometimes they'd piss me off, right? You know, they'd open up the fridge and go, damn it, there's no more half and half, right? I'm like, you know what? Listen, fuckbird. If you want half and half, that's in the apartment you rent. That's where it is. You drink coffee black in this house, right? I'm sorry. How's Zoe doing? Sorry about the fuckbirds, right? We were gender neutral before anybody else was in our house. We really were. We really were. They're both fuckbird. Or maybe they'll see my liquor cabinet, right? And they'll notice that teachers just don't drink. We drink. There's not fancy bottles back there, right? Yeah, there's that bottle of Campari that's hardly touched. I was going to do spritzers one summer, but that went out the door, right? Spritzer, nah. Gonna lighten up. Nah, that lasted for about a week, right? There's handles back there. Handles of sturdy stuff, smeared off early times with big fucking dents taken out of them, right? That's what they see back there. Right? Maybe they see my library, right? You know how the library set was always big? They could see all the places, all the guidebooks to all the places I've traveled with my teacher salary. Right? Like, Phoenix, Miami on a shoestring, family fun in Tacoma, right? It's all there. It's all there for them to see, right? Yeah, I got a pirate shelf. Most men my age do. If you're a 55-year-old history teacher, you either have a pirate shelf or an armor shelf, right? And so they got my pirate shelf. They could see it. There's one book in particular I like to keep right next to my ear on Zoom conferences. It's a book that's got like a 1-inch binding, and the title is Sodomy and the Pirate Tradition. It's like, come on. Ask me about my books. Right? It's a lot more interesting than Chloe in second period, right? Let's talk about what was really happening on those ships, right? They were doing more than singing. They were. It's a big book. It's a big book. Right? Yeah. I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid, Portland. I'm not afraid to teach about American heroes. I'm not. See how quiet you got? You're getting nervous. You're getting nervous. You're like, oh shit, here he goes. I knew he was going to do it. Anybody with a Tommy Bahama shirt on is gonna say something uncomfortable. No, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to teach about American heroes. I am, and they don't have to be famous. They don't. I met an American hero in Fred Meyer this summer. I did. He was on the fish line, right? Copper River salmon was on sale. It's previously frozen, but you got to go for it. It's $6.99 a pound. Anyway, I'm on the fish line. People clapping for salmon. Getting that on the tape. We're getting the salmon fans on the tape here. And there was a woman in front of me, and she's holding up a 2-pound bag of scallops that she got out of a display case that was on sale, and she looks at the attendant and goes, "This is not 2 pounds." She didn't say throw it up on the scale. I think this is a little light. She knew. Right? Sure enough, they throw it up on a scale. 1.72. I'm looking around the line going, "Are you seeing this? You seeing this?" I'm looking for high fives. Nobody's interested. It's like, "Sorry, ma'am, grab another one of those," right? It must have made a mistake. Grabs another one, throws it up on a scale. 1.68. Right? The manager comes out at this point. He says, "Sorry, man, we must have made a mistake with that whole 2-pound display there. We're really sorry. Let me get one from the back." He gets one from the back, throws it up on a scale. 1.59. She looks the manager right in the face and goes, "How far does the corruption go?" American hero. Right? She's taking down big scallop right in front of us. Right? She's not taking this. She's not taking this. The line had thinned out at this point, but I'm like, yeah, you fight. You fight. My kids know all about the scallop lady. Spent the whole week on her. A lot of kids dropped my class. I want to... This is the point in the show where we're kind of moving towards the end here, and this is usually where I take attendance in my class. I'd like to hear a little roll call here, right? I'd like to hear a little roll call. Once again, how many elementary school teachers do we have here? A fair amount. How about middle school? See that? The middle school teachers are always super drunk. Middle school, do that woo one more time. That's not sober. That's not even remotely sober, right? But seriously, let's hear it for the middle school teachers. The smell. Every day, right? Good for them. Good for them. How about high school? Look at that. High school teachers, I want you to do something right now. I want you to just look around the room. Look around the room, okay? Some of you aren't looking. Look around the room, right? There's about 142 people in here. I have 191 students, right? They could not even fit in here. Look around, right? The amount of students I have could not fit in this room. And this is not a tiny room. Like right here, right? You got this, you got the red shoes on right here. Are you a teacher? Any teachers in the front row? We got any teachers in the front row? Right? What do you teach? You teach Spanish, right? You teach high school. I saw you with high school before, right? You teach high school, right? How long have you been at the school you've been at? 12 years, right? Right? Now, we're making small talk here, right? And we're making small talk, and I'm getting to know this young man right here. But imagine doing that with 191 people, right? I'm only 45 seconds into this, and I'm already bored. And we haven't even gotten into the things that they tell us we're supposed to do. Find out what they're interested in. I don't care already. Am I going to do that 191 times? Imagine how boring this show would be if I did crowd work that lasted that long, right? The worst show ever. But anyway, I say that to you because if you're a teacher in the house or you're someone who has ever been in a school, just in any way, shape, or form, just understand that visual, right? The amount of students I have, and many high school teachers have, could never, ever fit in this room we have here, right? And that's kind of fucked up. Oh, well, yeah. So let me just end with this, right? With being a teacher and now a comic, the two worlds are starting to blend together. And they're blending together in the most obvious way where I'm seeing lots of ex-students at my shows. There's obviously some ex-students here. I did a show in Seattle last month, and somebody came up after the show going, "Hey, Mrs. G, do you remember me?" I'm like, "I'm sorry. I don't." And then they're like, "Do you remember the Model UN trip?" I'm like, "Oh shit, you're the blueberry vodka girl. You're the girl that got her stomach pumped and ended the Model UN club. How are you doing?" She's doing great. She's doing great, you know? She's paying rent in Seattle. That's pretty good. One time I was at a show, and a kid comes up to ask me, he's like, "Hey, Mr. G, you probably don't remember me. I was in your U.S. government class in 2009. I'm like, "What? Thanks for coming to the show. That's fantastic." Right? And he's like, "Hey, I just want you to know that I used to masturbate in your class all the time." This is like mid-handshake. I'm like, why would you tell me this? What the, you know? And I'm the idiot. I am free of this conversation. I am several steps away, and I'm the one who turns and goes, "Hey, how did you manage that?" And then I get this whole story about a big coat and a desk that was busted where you can get the right angle going. And now I have to live with that. I walked right into that one. Right? One time I was at a show, kid comes up to me. I just finished my set. He comes up to me, says, "That was super funny. Whatever you're drinking, it's on me." I'm like, "Wow, that's very generous. Thank you very much." He's like, "No, forget it, no." He goes to the bartender and orders 2 shots of Johnny Walker Blue. It's a blend, I know, but fuck you. It's a good blend, right? I know it's not single malt, but it's a $70 shot. Slides it over the bar and says, "No, that was very funny, but I just want you to know that you were my U.S. history teacher over 20 years ago, and you changed my life." "What about U.S. history changed your life?" And he's like, "No, it wasn't really anything about the curriculum." I'm like, "Was it those Uncle G moments I give where I give you advice on how to comport yourself in the world?" He's like, "No, that was kind of corny." And then he says to me, he's like, "No, you pulled me aside one day and you gave me advice that I'll never forget." And he hands over this piece of paper to me. And I'll never forget what it said. It said, "Hey, Kevin." That was his name. I don't know why he wrote that part down. But, "Hey, Kevin, you really have to stop being an asshole all the time. For real. I don't think you were born this way. But if you don't stop now, it could become a lifelong affliction." And I'm like, "Was it 8th period? I got one nerve left, 8th period. I'm sorry." And he's like, no, it wasn't 8th period. And I was pissed, G. I was pissed. I went to my friends, and I'm like, "Can you believe G said this to me?" And they looked at me and said, Yeah, we just hang out with you because you have a car. You're kind of a prick, dude." Then he went to that aunt who he can talk to more than his mom smokes a little pot with. She's like, "You listen to that teacher." with some advice there. So that's the unsung work that we do, people. That's the that's the unsung work we do, right? We take assholes out of the stream before they get up to the mating grounds, and we tell them to change their ways before we put them back. And imagine the world with like between 15 and 25% more assholes, right? That's the work of teachers right there. Right? Folks, I should go. I really appreciate you coming. I'm done, Gavitte. Good night.
Picking up what you're putting down. Keep hearing your name all across town. I see how we see, but it doesn't quite make sense to me. But I want it